Brian Schifferling of EdgewoodCollegeEagles.com, and I'm joined today by Lucas Caminiti, the Edgewood College men's track and field star, who is head to nationals next week in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. He owns the third fastest time in the country, 9:06.64. Ran it last week at the Dr. Keeler Invitational. And Lucas, let's start there. You knew going into that race that you needed to improve your time. Did you know you could run that fast, and what was your goal going into that race?
Yeah, I guess I asked Coach Brewster what she thought I could run, because I kept on not hitting the times I was wanting to, and she said, "I think you can run 9:10, maybe 9:05 by some point in the season." And one thing that's, I don't know, just Coach B is she always gets those times just about right. So I really had no idea what I could run. Kind of in the back of my mind, just trusted her from experience. Uh, And that's what I was going for, I think you asked. Yeah, just get a better time. I knew I was at 15th and knew that people were probably really going to be dropping times in these last 2 weeks. So yeah, just drop that time as much as possible and give myself the best chance I could for nationals.
Before that race, was the plan to do two last chance meets, and then you ran so low that, hey, you qualified?
Yeah, so the plan was we would do a last chance meet and then reevaluate from there. So if we didn't hit a time that was, I think we had talked about earlier in the year, like if we went 9:12 or under, um, that would be like a good place to go off of. I'm not sure. I think we would probably have just talked about it. Yeah, but 9:06, we felt pretty comfortable with that and not doing another one. So yeah, it's a little bit just oh, um, figure out figure it out as we go along.
How it was a loaded field at that Dr. Keeler Invitational. How much did that help you being able to run? I think that the guy in second place, he was in that Jonah Jones from Wheaton. Having the pace set a little bit faster, how much did that help?
Oh, that was really helpful. I feel like especially I don't run very well from the front, so just being able to start off, I think I was like an eighth, and then it just gives you so much confidence, even if you're not making up that much ground, to be able to pass people. I don't know, it just feels good, and you convince yourself that you're running well at that point. So yeah, that was super helpful. You can really just focus in on the person in front of you. It just makes the race a lot simpler and you can relax more and just run more efficiently. So that was huge for me. Yeah, I was super thankful I got to run the race like that.
How different has this year been for you? You guys, I guess you can call you had one indoor meet, but you didn't really have an indoor season. So how different has it been, and has that helped you at all this year? Maybe in training, just the whole focus all year was on that one race pretty much?
Yeah, oh boy. I don't know. I guess thinking back to summer training, I mean, or just summer training in general. I mean, we can take it back that far. It's just you gotta figure out what you want and then stay disciplined with that. I felt like that was a big part of what this whole year or over a year now has been. Um, yeah, there were times in the year when coach would say, I don't know really what we're training for. Um, who knows what opportunities we're going to have. So I did quite a bit of base training, which is just lower intensity, higher mileage training. But um, yeah, so just planning for the end of the year, did it help? It's tough to say. I think you probably have to ask Coach B on that. She seems to be the mastermind behind the training. I just kind of show up and do the workouts.
Speaking of the training, you run a race, you qualified in a race that I don't believe we have anything to train with steeplechase around Edgewood College. I'm gonna guess the track out here doesn't have anything for that. It's a high school track. How do you train for that race in particular?
Yeah, so I think normally, so for those who maybe don't know the steeplechase, you have the barriers, which are kind of like hurdles, except if you hit them, they don't move. And then, so you have four of those each lap. And then you have the water barrier, which is one of the normal barriers with a water pit right after it. So normally, I think when people train, they don't use the normal barriers because if they hit them, then they have a greater chance of getting hurt, and it's really not worth the risk. The advantage that they would have is having a water pit, though, because you can't really simulate that without one, at least not very well. So in the past, I think like my freshman year, coach made some makeshift um, barriers. There's no water pit, but when you run the water pit, you step on the barrier and with one leg, and then um, kind of kick off of it. And so you could get a little bit of that motion in. So throughout the year, I was kind of going off of memory. It was a big wake up call for my first steeplechase, especially coming up to the water barrier because I hadn't done that in like, well, yeah, I mean, I did one as a sophomore, but um, yeah, I mean, other than that, it was my freshman year. So you train, I don't know. It's a good question. You kind of just show up and it's
Hmm.
a bit of a sink or swim situation. Uh, and I did get the chance to, after this last meet, I wasn't feeling as comfortable on the water barrier as I would have liked. So I asked coach if we could just practice on the water barrier while some of the other races were going on. So we did that.
Okay, cool. Um, so did you, when you were coming to Edgewood College and you were going to run cross country and track and field, did you always know you were going to run the steeplechase, or when did that kind of enter your mind?
Oh, I definitely did not think I'd be running steeplechase. Let's see. I think I remember people asking me throughout the year, "What are you going to run?" And I was like, "I don't know. Guess I'll kind of leave that up to coach."
Hmm.
Um, but there was one of my teammates. She was a senior on the team, Ashley Harnack, and she did steeplechase, and so she encouraged me to do it. And so then I told coach I was kind of interested. Ashley said she thought I'd be good at it, so yeah, I'd attribute it mainly to her. Coach B, I think she wasn't so sure about me doing it. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I don't. Um, but yeah, we just worked on it a little bit, and I think she felt comfortable with it and decided to run it and went okay. And so then just kept working at it. And so, and but even like before this year, my PR was like a nine. Oh, don't quote me on this, but maybe a 9:54 or something. So I've dropped my time quite a bit since then. So
You're the second ever Edgewood College track athlete to reach nationals. The first being Josh. You have somewhat of a relationship with Josh, don't you? You know him, or you guys have
yeah, a
worked
little
out
bit.
together. Have you talked to him at all since qualifying about what to expect or anything like that?
Uh, I haven't spoken with him yet. I probably should. He did talk to me. When was that? I think it was last year track season before we knew everything was canceled because it was looking like I was going, I had a shot at least of making indoors. And so I talked to him a little bit before that. And yeah, it was neat to just hear his perspective on things. Said nationals are a really special opportunity and don't take them for granted and make sure you really enjoy them. So I'll be sure to try to do that.
You said earlier something along the lines of when you get something in your mind and then you focus on it. When did you get it in your mind, I want to run at nationals in this event?
In this event,
Or
it's
and anything, I mean,
oh
but
sure.
I'm assuming the focus this year was mainly in this event for the outdoor season, but
Yeah, I think I remember as a freshman we had to set goals, and I told coach one of my goals was to qualify for nationals twice here at Edgewood. I didn't specify between cross country or track, so technically I still could with another cross country season. But I think back then, did I think I could? I didn't know what I could do. All I could, all I knew I could do was I could put in the work and see what would happen based off of that. So, and then as far as this year, specifically with steeplechase, I came into the year thinking steeplechase was going to be my best bet. Running my first steeplechase of the year and taking third place, I almost took fourth. It was a really close one. And I was having serious doubts about if steeplechase was even going to be my best event. Well, because I think that was my first race of this year that I lost, so, but I decided to let it sit over the weekend and I still wasn't feeling great about it. So I asked coach, I said, Coach, we sure steeplechase is what we want to be going for here? But she encouraged me to stick with it. We kept our minds open, but we didn't give up on steeplechase. And I'm really happy we didn't.
So you talk about that first race. The second race then was 1 week later, and you won. You not only won, you tied a school record, which is still beyond me how you tied a school record in a 3,000-meter event. But so how important was that for your confidence for the rest of the year?
Oh, that was huge. Well, I just remember my first race. It was just such a different race than anything I'd done throughout the year. And it felt hard to push it at the end because, well, you get tired in a normal race and that's hard enough, but then you come up to these barriers and it's that much harder. But yeah, I ended up in that race. I raced a kid from our conference, and while I was looking to kind of see how I'd square up against him for conference, which was coming up. And at one point in the race, I let him go, kind of just not being so sure of myself with remembering the past week. But uh, my teammates and coach, they were always there along the side and of the track, and they were cheering me on and encouraging me. And I just remember looking up and thinking maybe I can go after him and get this. And so that was so big to me just to be able to finish a race strong. Um, yeah, and I remember saying to coach, well, I asked her if I could do a 4x4 afterwards because I was really excited after that race. But let's see. Yeah, it was, yeah, well, how much did I bring my time down? Was it 38 to 22? So I brought it down
38 to 22, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
16 seconds.
Hmm.
That was, yeah, just the combination of bringing it down 16 seconds, getting a win, and getting a win in a race that came down to a kick, and where I had to finish strong in the race. All those things were just really big and, yeah, boosting my confidence after that first one.
And did you ever think you would bring it down another, was it 16 seconds again? 22 to 06? Did you ever think
Oh,
you'd bring it down another 16 seconds again?
if I, like I said before, I wasn't sure what could happen, and I kind of trusted coach in the back of my mind. I wasn't thinking I'd do it 16 seconds at a time
Mhm.
again. But yeah, no, I don't think I was thinking I would do that. I wasn't sure where I'd be able to get to this year, but not bringing it down that fast. No.
I I think this will be my last question. You're heading to the nationals. There's going to be 17 people there. What are your goals for that race?
Oh man. Well, considering that I'm ranked third right now, I want to get. I'd like to get All American, which would be top 8.
Mhm.
Um, but another part of me says, I mean, I'm 2 seconds off of second place. There'll be some more races that happen today, so I might get a better idea of what some people where some people are at. But I don't know. I just put myself in a good position for the end of the race and see what happens and trust my training from the end. So yeah, it'd be nice to get All American, but who knows what I can do besides that.
Perfect. All right. Well, Lucas is going to run. I believe his race is next Friday. That is in Greensboro, North Carolina. He's in the 3,000-meter steeplechase again. He's currently ranked third. There's still some last chance meets trickling in. But Lucas, best of luck at the national meet.
Thank you very much.